I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time.
It was just, what?
Unexpected him the last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3.
I'm a little up. But will you take care of me forever and ever?
Joe Rogan's live response to Anthony Joshua's devastating 6th-round knockout, which ended Jake Paul's campaign in their eagerly awaited heavyweight bout, encapsulated the moment's profound effect on combat sports. As the decisive blow struck, Rogan, who had publicly warned about Joshua's one-punch power and the danger Paul was entering, didn't hold back. He immediately framed it as not only a fight-ending knockout, but also as a moment that could go down as one of the most brutal and memorable knockouts in boxing history.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided...
Joshua entered the heavyweight division fight, which was officially touted as Judgment Day. As the clear favorite because of his superior experience and size advantage, the fight took place over scheduled 83-minute rounds. Paul weighs 216 pounds. Whereas he stands 6 feet 6 inches and weighs about 243 pounds. Joshua started to take charge after a few hesitant early rounds. He knocked Paul down numerous times in the 5th round before ending the battle with a spectacular 6th-round knockout at 131, hitting a crushing right hand that knocked Paul to the ground and prompted the referee to end the fight.
Anthony Joshua, Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to...
One of the most talked about fights of the year was Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, in part because of the personalities involved, but also because it highlighted the conflict between conventional heavyweight boxing and the era of social media influencers.
Performance by Jake, brother.
Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Josh was a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome, I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world, so I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, it was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are gonna say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right?
Ton of heart.
What's next for Jake Paul? Where does he go?
The former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, Joshua was a huge favorite going into the fight. Despite criticism from purists regarding his credentials, Paul, a former YouTuber turned boxer, had exploited his platform to create a sizable fan base. Few, however, genuinely thought he had a chance against top heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight, even Rosendo, my boxing coach. I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
Joshua was candid and thoughtful about his performance following the contest, stating that although he finished the fight with a 6th-round knockout, he didn't think it was his best performance and thought he could have done much better. Joshua called the victory a win but not a success, and emphasized that he still has a lot of work ahead of him. He acknowledged that he needed to improve because he had trouble making clean shots early on and was unable to corner Jake Paul as quickly as many had anticipated.